Good evening, Matt Wordsworth with ABC News. A highly critical report has accused the federal government of effectively abandoning the Closing the Gap effort. The strategy was started by the Rudd government in 2008, aimed at improving the lives of Indigenous Australians. But last year's annual report showed 6 of the 7 key goals were not being met. They include benchmarks for life expectancy and employment. The Prime Minister is now looking to overhaul the targets by June. From Canberra, Dan Conifer reports.
Health and wellbeing goals for Indigenous Australians have been given a check-up.
And I wish to thank Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull for his time here.
But it's getting up and leaving a Close the Gap event that's made the PM the target.
I would like to acknowledge the Prime Minister, Malcolm Turnbull, who left.
He caught the keynote, but the report launch ran over time and into the next commitment.
It's indicative of the deafness, of the absolute derision and the contempt which this government is meting out to the Aboriginal people.
He does give an enormous priority to the Closing the Gap initiative.
What Kevin Rudd started as Prime Minister was effectively abandoned, the report argues, with cuts in the 2014 budget.
Fundamentally, the strategy, which began with such promise, has, despite the best of intentions, not delivered.
Life expectancy and child mortality gaps have widened.
We've got a lot more to do, but we are getting on with it. We are working with our First Australians. We are doing things with them, not doing things to them.
In Canberra today, dozens of Indigenous leaders discussed the government's refresh of the Closing the Gap strategy. The ABC can reveal the new targets could include support for Indigenous-owned businesses and tertiary education rates, along with improved housing and resolving land claims. Tackling high rates of family violence, child removals and imprisonment are also in the government's sights.
So I'm pleased if we have a justice target. If you're a young Aboriginal man of 18, you're more likely to go to jail than to university.
State and territory leaders whose police, courts and jails would determine the success of any justice target will discuss the proposal at a meeting tomorrow. Dan Conifer, ABC News, Canberra.